these drones discovered the strangest things. From people stuck in the mountains to strange caves filled with bones and uncontacted tribes, these discoveries are super wild. One drone even saw a UFO. Be ready to be amazed and prepare for an adventure you won't forget as we look at these strange finds by drones. Without any further ado, let's get to it. Number 1. Lost Tomb. 3 members of El Legado, a group of amateur archaeology enthusiasts, were exploring the Guayadec Valley on Gran Canaria. Usually, amateur archaeologists count themselves lucky if they come across a little relic here or there, but these folks stumbled upon something way beyond their expectations. While flying their drone around, they spot a mysterious-looking cave. Naturally, they decide to check it out, and what do they find? Human remains tucked away in the shadows. Now, finding bones in a cave is spooky, but it gets creepier. As word spread, more archaeology teams joined in, and they unearthed 72 skulls, including 10 tiny newborn ones. Turns out, these remains are from the pre-Hispanic Guanche natives, dating back over 1,000 years. While Gran Canaria has its fair share of grave caves, this one, spotted by drone, is unique. It's the first to have newborn remains. The pre-Hispanic had this tradition of burying their dead in caves, and finding bits of burial shrouds confirmed it. I don't know about you, but stumbling upon this lost tomb feels like stumbling into a horror movie set, with all those skulls just filling up the cave like some sort of ancient warning, a place that should have never been found. Number 2. UFO Drone. Sam Chortek and Jimmy Chappie were out in Beaver, Utah, trying to get some sweet footage of the valley. But what did they stumble upon? Something straight out of a sci-fi flick. Emerging from the hills, this white object zooms past their drone at lightning speed. They didn't notice until they checked the footage later, leaving them scratching their heads. Surprisingly, this jaw-dropping sighting occurred just a kilometer away from Area 51. Coincidence? I think not. Number 3. Coffin Caves of Guizhou. Up on the steep cliffs of Anshun in China's Guizhou province, there's a sight that will make your jaw drop. Hundreds of thousands of wooden coffins, slowly decaying over who knows how many centuries. Now, this one cave in particular has over 500 of these coffins stacked up, one on top of the other. And if you haven't figured it out yet, they have actual human bodies inside. So why would they put coffins up there instead of burying them like usual? Well, legend has it that these caves were thought to be closer to heaven because they were perched up high. Others say it was to keep the coffins safe from floods, which were apparently a pretty common thing in the area. This unique burial tradition has been going on since ancient times in Guizhou province. Even today, you can find these wooden coffins hanging on steep cliffs, defying gravity and logic. I mean, just think about it. How in the world did they manage to haul bodies up to these seemingly inaccessible spots? Number 4. Katsky Pillar. About 200 kilometers west of Georgia lies a remarkable natural monolith, not just a towering pillar in the middle of nowhere, but also home to a church perched atop it, making it Georgia's highest and perhaps most isolated church. The exact construction date of this church remains a mystery, but studies have uncovered medieval hermit cells dating back to the 9th century. What's particularly intriguing is that until 1944, there was no proper way to ascend or descend from the top of the Katsky Pillar, adding to the enigma surrounding its creation. Legend has it that it all began with a monk seeking refuge from worldly temptations, and so this wonder was built. After a period of abandonment, religious activities resumed when a monk named Maxim Kavtaradze felt the presence of the divine while meditating in a solitary cell atop the pillar. He decided to make it his home. Today, there are no permanent residents at the summit. Monks reside in the chapel at the base of the pillar. Access to the top is restricted, only a select few monks are permitted to ascend for prayer and meditation, and they must be male. Thanks to drones, commoners can now marvel at this spectacle from afar, offering a glimpse into a place that remains inaccessible to most. Number 5. Mountain Stay. So 23-year-old Babu was out trekking with his buddies, having a blast, when suddenly his pals decided they had enough and bailed out. But not our guy Babu, oh no. He's determined to conquer that mountain, so he keeps moving on, all the way to the top. But just as he was about to bust out the victory dance, disaster struck. Poor Babu takes a tumble and ends up wedged in this super tricky spot on the steep hillside. No matter what the local rescue teams and firefighters try, they just can't get him out. And to make matters worse, Babu's stuck there with no food or water. After a grueling 46 hours of being stranded in that cleft, enduring scorching sun and chilly nights, the Indian army swoops in like real-life superheroes. Finally, an army officer makes contact with Babu, gives him a pat on the back for keeping his cool, and quenches his thirst before getting him to safety. Man, just talking about Babu's experience makes me feel claustrophobic and jittery about heights. Number 6. Uncontacted Tribe. It's just mind-boggling to realize that even in this day and age, there are some people who live completely separated from modern society. Don't think that can be true? Watch the shocking discovery of an uncontacted tribe deep in the Amazon rainforest. While some may consider them backward or a piece of history, they are actually living, breathing examples of mankind's extraordinary diversity. While we are busy with cell phones and skyscrapers, these tribes are out there, living off the earth in ways that have supported them for generations. José Carlos, a dedicated Brazilian working for FUNAI, has devoted his life to studying uncontacted tribes and advocating for their safety. He passionately pleads with the government and the world to protect these vulnerable people from land invaders and to respect their wishes to remain uncontacted. On numerous occasions, José Carlos has emphasized the grave danger of contacting these tribes. Doing so could prove fatal, as it would expose them to modern diseases against which they have no immunity. One of the most closely monitored uncontacted individuals is known as the Man of the Hole because of the holes he digs either to trap animals or hide himself. His entire tribe was tragically murdered 20 years ago. Since then, he has been living alone, constantly on the move and rejecting any attempts at contact with the outside world. It's truly surreal to contemplate the life of a man completely unaware of the modern world, fending for himself and navigating his surroundings in isolation. Number 7. Ancient Petroglyphs. Bill Carey was out in Utah capturing some stunning shots of the desert when he came across something truly odd. He found ancient petroglyphs etched into a wall. What makes them even more intriguing? Some depict figures with broad shoulders and skinny legs, unlike anything he's seen before. That too on a place which is not only invisible from the ground, but it's also on an inaccessible ledge. Talk about hidden treasure. As the archaeologists investigated the video, they concluded that these never-before-seen petroglyphs are of the San Juan basket maker style, dating back a whopping 2,500 years. Randomly stumbling upon something never discovered before? Now, that's a once-in-a-lifetime find. Number 8. Melan and Francine Dumoulin. Back in 1942, a Swiss couple named Melan and Francine Dumoulin set out for a little adventure in the Swiss Alps on August 15th. But here's the thing, they never made it back. For months, people searched high and low for them, but it was like they vanished into thin air. Fast forward 75 years, and the mystery finally starts to unravel. As the Saint-Florent Glacier begins to melt, revealing its secrets, a ski resort worker stumbles upon two bodies near the ski lift. Lo and behold, It's Melan and Francine, perfectly preserved in ice with their belongings still intact. Turns out, they must have fallen into a crevasse all those years ago and stayed there for multiple decades until glaciers started receding. By the time their bodies were discovered, most of their children had already passed away. But their 79-year-old daughter never lost hope of giving her parents the proper burial they deserved. She wore white to their funeral, a symbol of hope and the closure she finally found after all those years of uncertainty. Number 9. Culver Creek. On the west side of Port Ainan in South Wales, there's this fascinating cave that's still shrouded in mystery. They call it Culver Hole Creek, and let me tell you, its history is like a real cliffhanger. Believed to date back to the 14th century or even earlier, Culver Hole Creek is sealed off by a towering 60-foot-high stone wall, complete with a few large windows that give it that Indiana Jones movie set vibe. And inside, the walls are like a honeycomb, with about 30 tiers of irregular nesting boxes. Now, who built it and why? That is still undetermined. The most popular theory says it was a shelter for pigeons, which were a crucial source of food back in the day, providing both meat and fresh eggs. That's why they named it Culver, from the Old English word culfrey, meaning pigeon. But local legends spice things up even more. According to the tales, in the 18th century, it was used by a notorious smuggler named John Lucas, who supposedly had a secret tunnel leading to his mansion nearby. Some even speculate that it might have been part of a castle at some point, but there's no solid evidence for that. But regardless of its origins or purpose, one thing's for sure, Culver Hole Creek is absolutely captivating. Number 10. Mummy of Kaja, Marila. A 1,200-year-old mummy unearthed near Kaja, Peru. It was discovered buried in an underground tomb with a 7-step staircase leading down to it, and it is thought to be a young guy between the ages of 18 to 20. He was discovered in a fetal position, his body wrapped in textiles and rope, with his hands clasping his face. While today the site is nothing but ruins, at the time of burial it was a bustling city with a population of over 10,000 people. The size of his burial chamber suggests he may have held high status, possibly as an important warrior. It's not uncommon for bodies found in the region to be placed in a fetal position, as the people of the mountainous regions of Peru believed it made rebirth possible in the afterlife. Researchers also uncovered evidence suggesting that after the burial, there were visits and offerings made to the mummy, including flowers and food. Mollusks were found within the tomb, along with the bones of llamas outside. Interestingly, just a year later, about 200 yards from this tomb, another mummy was discovered, with some bits of skin and hair still intact. The secrets surrounding these ancient tombs continue to interest experts and enthusiasts alike, offering insight into the unique rituals and beliefs of past civilizations. Number 11. Waamo Gloworm Cave. Waamo Caves in Newland, with an underground river system, are home to the Arachnocampa luminosa, a kind of glowworm found only in New Zealand. These tiny organisms perform their magic, lighting the cave walls in an exquisite bluish-green glow. Stepping into these caves feels like entering another world, as if you're floating among the stars in outer space. These caves are also decorated with breathtaking limestone structures, some of which developed over 30 million years ago when this region was still under the ocean. But these beautiful stalactites and stalagmites get no spotlight, as the visitors are most fascinated by the glowworms. Here's something to consider about these glowworms. They are not worms. They are actually insects with wings that look like mosquitoes. When their eggs hatch, they transform into cylindrical larvae before maturing into adults. These larvae spin silk nests on the cave ceiling, glowing to attract prey. Once their prey gets stuck, the larvae feed on them alive. To witness the majestic glow of these creatures, you have got to embrace the darkness and keep quiet. Turns out, glowworms aren't fans of noise, so staying hushed is key to experiencing their magic. Number 12. Ancient tombs in Dyan. The town of Dyan in Turkey boasts a rich history that draws in plenty of tourists, but there's one gem that often flies under the radar: the Lycian tombs. Carved right into the mountainside, these tombs give off major castle vibes with their impressive facades. They may look like grand entrances fit for royalty, but the interior tells a different story. Inside, you'll find simple chambers carved into the rock with maybe a lone monolith to hold the remains. Sadly, most of these rooms have been empty for centuries thanks to looting. These temple tombs are the last remnants of the Kaunos necropolis, once home to over 170 rock-cut graves. They date all the way back to the mid-4th century BC, built by the ancient Lycians to honor their dead. Placing them high up on cliff sides was no accident. The Lycians believed that a mystical winged creature would come to guide the departed to the afterlife. These tombs give a glimpse into the beliefs and rituals of a civilization long gone. Number 13. Uluru Rock. This sandstone monolith in Australia, towering over 1,000 feet, holds stories that will send shivers down your spine. Science offers some logical explanations about its formation, citing geological activity and whatnot, but the local legend paints a much spookier picture. According to the tale, 2 tribes were on their way to a feast when they were lured away by sleepy lizard women. The hosts, angered by their absence, whispered evil into the mud, bringing it to life as a deadly dingo. A battle ensued, and the 2 tribe leaders were dead, with the earth rising up at the sight of their bloodshed, forming Uluru. Now you might think it's just a fanciful story, but the experiences of tourists who have dared to take rocks from the formation might make you think twice. Despite warnings from the locals not to disturb Uluru, tourists collected stones as souvenirs. But soon, the Anangu people, the traditional custodians, began receiving these stones back, accompanied by notes of apology and tales of misfortune from around the globe. Take Steve Hill, for example. He made a 3,000-kilometer trip in 2019 just to return a stone after a string of bad luck. He described feeling a weight lift off his shoulders as he placed the rock back where it belonged. The largest stone they've received weighed a whopping 70 pounds, and they get over 350 packages of returned rocks each year, some taken as far back as 40 years ago. So, whether you believe in curses or not, one thing's for sure: always listen to the locals when they tell you not to do something. Number 14. Sandung Cave. Let's explore Sandung Cave, located in Vietnam's Phong Nha, Cây Bang National Park. It is the world's largest cave with its own ecosystem. While it's estimated to have formed over 2 million years ago, it remained hidden until 1991, when a local man named Ho Khan stumbled upon it while seeking shelter from heavy rainfall during a jungle trek. He kept its whereabouts secret until 2006, when he revealed its location to an expedition from the Royal Society of England. Even with sophisticated equipment and a whole team, it took Khan 3 years to rediscover the cave. Sandung stretches almost 9 kilometers long, with sections soaring up to heights of 650 feet and widths of 500 feet, although the full volume of the cave is still being determined. But it's not just its size that's impressive. What truly sets Sandung apart is the thriving jungle nestled within its depths. Sunlight filters through doline ceilings, creating an otherworldly paradise, complete with rivers meandering through the caverns. Adding to its beauty are unique formations known as cave pearls, resembling pearls found in oysters, but as big as baseballs. Number 15. Cable car crisis. You know those wild stories your parents used to tell about their crazy journey to school? Well, turns out it's not just a tall tale, it's the real deal for many kids in the remote mountains of Pakistan. 6 children and 2 teachers, just trying to get to school like any other day, using these sketchy electric cables as their mode of transportation. But one morning, things take a terrifying turn when one of the cables snaps, leaving them dangling a stomach churning 900 feet above a river. In the midst of those breathtaking mountain landscapes, launching a rescue operation was no walk in the park. At first, the army swoops in with helicopters and manages to save 2 of the kids, but the wind from the choppers starts threatening to snap the other cable, so they have to call off the aerial rescue. But fear not, because then came in the real heroes, brave rescuers zip-lining along the cables themselves. Can you imagine the nerve it takes to do that? After 14 heart-pounding hours, they managed to save every single soul stranded in those cable cars. Honestly, if those kids never want to set foot in a cable car again, who could blame them? That's some next-level bravery just to get an education. Number 16. Inverted Tower. Quinta da Regaleira, located near the center of the Portuguese town of Sintra, is a stunning estate with a lovely palace, chapel, and luxurious parks with lakes. However, among the estate's elegance, there are 2 eerie-looking initiation wells with an unsolved history. Don't be deceived by the word well. These were not just water wells. Instead, they were ones with ceremonial value. The estate had several owners throughout history, but Antonio Augusto Carvalho Monteiro, one of Portugal's wealthiest men, transformed it into what it is now. According to legend, Carvalho Monteiro was an initiate of the Knights Templar, a Catholic military order. Although the Templars are believed to have disbanded 700 years ago, groups like the Freemasons revived their rituals and traditions centuries later. Also, it was believed the land originally belonged to the Knights Templar. These wells served as an initiatory path in the Templar tradition. The larger, inverted well spirals down 9 levels, representing the 8 Knights Templar and the Grand Master who founded the original order. However, some occultists debate that it symbolizes the 9 levels of hell from Dante's Inferno. Whether these wells represent a descent into hell or served as a place for the initiation of the Knights Templar, we may never know for certain. Nonetheless, they remain remarkable pieces of architecture, challenging and baffling the imagination of people to this day. Number 17. Lost Pyramid. In 2018, archaeologists in Shaanxi, China, conducted an intensive examination of ancient stone walls believed to be part of the Great Wall of China. However, what they uncovered was far older and more complex than the Great Wall. Buried beneath the earth was a 4,300-year-old pyramid, accompanied by the remnants of a long-lost city now called Shimao. This pyramid, standing at a towering height of 230 feet, was decorated with striking eye symbols and faces depicting both humans and animals. It served as the focal point of the flourishing city, acting as the residence for rulers and other prominent figures. The pyramid itself consisted of 11 steps, each meticulously lined with stone. At the pinnacle of this architectural marvel, archaeologists unearthed extensive palaces constructed of rammed earth, complete with wooden pillars, roofing tiles, and even a colossal water reservoir. Among the domestic remnants scattered throughout the site were jade artifacts, offering insights into the daily lives of the city's inhabitants. However, alongside these artifacts lay a chilling discovery: human remains and jade objects inserted into the spaces between the structures. These findings suggest the possibility of ritualistic practices involving human sacrifice, shedding light on the enigmatic rituals and beliefs of the ancient Shimao civilization. Number 18. Stairs of Death. Huayna Picchu, Towering over the long-lost city of the Inca civilization, Machu Picchu is a mountain in Peru with a trail built by the Incas over 600 years ago, now famously known as the Stairs of Death. Looking down from these stairs, one can easily understand why they earned such a name. The Incas were known for their engineering prowess, and the construction of these stairs is still considered a wonder today. While the actual methods utilized by the Incas to construct such structures remain unknown, the motives for their creation are open to debate. One belief is that the stairs were built for defensive purposes, allowing defenders to climb to the summit and challenge any invading forces. Locals also share stories suggesting that the summit was the residence of the high priest and local virgins. Every morning before sunrise, they would descend to Machu Picchu to signal the coming of a new day. Adding to the mystery of the Stairs of Death, some believe that the Incas built them to get to the summit in order to observe stars. While there is no easy way to reach the summit and no elevator of life to take you there, those who go through the dangerous trek are rewarded with breathtaking views that make the risk worth it. And that's a wrap on our journey through the world of weird discoveries and events, capturing the unexpected and the extraordinary. Did any of these clips leave you in awe? Or do you have any bizarre encounter of your own that left you scratching your head? We would love to hear. While you are commenting, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this coming your way. Let us know what you would like to see next in the comments. Until next time, goodbye.